Hey Star Trek Fleet Command fans, today you're faced with a brand new hostile as the Hurak invasion continues with Flashpoints. I'm going to give you the breakdown. You'll be able to like this video, subscribe, and by the end of that, if you do all those things, you will know how to get started, how to do it, and what crews work, all those things. So all that aside, let's go ahead and roll into it because, man, it's a lot. Been saying that a lot lately. Wow.
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woohoo!
So, you see me here in the level 60 system grinding the brand new Hurak hostile. So you're going to have these dropships appearing in these systems, as you can see, the ones that you've already been in and existing. They're just now going to start appearing, as before they were mostly just the Klingon traders. Now you're going to start seeing the dropships. So to see those events, you're going to go into your events tab, look in your Flashpoint events, and you'll notice it in your SMS. So inside of there, it's asking you to destroy these. And what is the purpose of going after these ships? Well, pretty simple. Why are we going after these ships? So number one, this is an IMS that we're working towards as well, which is the server is working towards an event, but we're doing it to earn a certain currency. That currency is to do this turn in right here, the House of Hurak Targ Tag Exchange. And this, as you can see, has three options, and this will give you these right here. Here are the current drop rates. Each pool will give you a 100% chance of premium mirror dust, which is quite nice, depending on how much you get. Each pool, 75% of rare directives and a 15% of epic directives, plus a 100% chance to earn materials. So I'll finish doing my grind real quick and I'll do a triple pull so you can see what that looks like. Now, to be clear, you don't actually need to do all three of these pulls, but I do want everybody to take a note that if you back out real quick, as it stands right now, you'll see it says remaining on one on each of these. So if you are wanting to be hyper efficient, getting a max pull in is going to be big so that you have a chance of getting directed. You see, I managed to get rare and the Flashpoint epic. Keep in mind that I did a 3 chest pulls, so those aren't necessarily great odds. Again, the odds are included in the all I button. Now we'll actually need to go run rares and epics. Before we do that, again, real quick, let's talk about these hostiles and how you should play them. It's very possible that if you're out there, you might want to do a punch down method, like you can see me here in the 56-58 system. It is really, really important to note that these are very tough hostiles. But why are they tough hostiles? Well, I'm going to go down to some of the losses that I took earlier on so you can see. Well, they have incredibly high piercing stats. As you can actually see in this fight right there, I have very little effective piercing. And so much so that I'm only piercing 29%, or only mitigating, 29% of the damage each round from these shots. So that means we need to adjust our crew. And that was with a regular Moreau. So what did I come up with? Well, there's several different crews here. In fact, I ran several variations with various people, and shout out to a lot of great folks out there. Strange New World crews, anything that boosts mitigation on deck can be useful. I'm using something that most players have in the game, which is Pike Moreau E-Data. But keep in mind that the logic is based on keeping our mitigation high. So Pelia, Strange New World crews, all those are going to work, which will open up other sidecars. I'm currently using E-Data. One thing I want most players to note is for almost every player, these are going to be short fights. So if you have a high tier Harrison, that can be quite effective, like our friend from Territory.lol, Gherkin, who used that on his Enterprise. The main thing you want to keep in mind for your bridge crew is something like Pipe Moreau Data, really simple, really clean, and should be able to help you punch at level or higher. And that's just an example. Again, they have very, very high piercing stats. Now, in terms of below decks, keeping our normal hostile runs is pretty much what I'm going to recommend. We're going to recall this ship real quick. We're going to talk about the armadas, but before we do that, we'll talk about the below decks of how we're taking on the hostiles, just to give everybody a quick refresher of how we typically do those. So the below deck logic is as follows. Number one, we want to hit our max mitigation, which you can do with Pipe Moreau. You can also do with like Tom Paris below decks. The new McCoy that just came out, Wrath of Khan McCoy, can help you with that. But you want to hit max mitigation. And again, we're talking about specifically the hostiles. We're not on the entities quite yet. We also like Pelia for ISO defense. Of course, we want to hit our criticals. So we have Hugh, Blah Torres for hull breach, Harry Kim, mostly to keep our shields up, but also for an ISO damage boost, Cascade with Nurse Chapel. Then we, of course, got some mitigation of these shields right there with, again, if you have Wrath of Khan McCoy and then Quasi, but he's not honestly super important, and you could just swap that for that. But this is the hostile style of things. But let's change things around a lot because we're actually going to go do the armadas now, or the entities, which are armadas 2.0. It means we're going to need an entity-based crew, which is something like Dejas, Torah, Toli, and Gwen DeMarco. Also means several things below decks will no longer work, such as you and Nurse Chapel. So we need to swap them out for things that will. But let's get to that real quick. Now I'm going to make you watch swap all the crews, and then we can take a look at some battles. So just a reminder, these are invading entities, and these are not to be trifled with because they are incredibly strong. Just like the hostiles we just talked about, these have very high abilities, as you can see right here, similar to what we just looked at with the other hostiles having special abilities with ISO damage and such, but they also have incredibly high piercing stats. So you're looking at officers like Gwen DeMarco, Jason Nesmith, etc. that can really help you get good punch in, or maybe even look for survivability with below decks such as Pelia, Wrath of Khan McCoy, Tom Paris, and just remember, all these officers on the screen work on entities because these are essentially armadas, but not armadas. They're armadas 2.0. So same way you would fight the Chimeras, same way that you would fight the Krenoms, you have to find these new Hurak Vanguards. And they are incredibly tough, one of, if not the toughest current armada mechanic in the game, simply based on the amount of power and stats they put out. Look at the piercing values for a 55 here. That is significantly more than an average armada. I even tried to underestimate the epic and tried to go full loot synergy, and it humbled me. Again, a lot of this is simply because of the massive stats they have, and this is a max Rotaran for one of the strongest 60 accounts in the game. Now, that's not to say that to be big-headed. This is simply to give you a warning. With this being a very limited currency run, it's very hard to get these directives right now. You're probably going to want to focus on punching down. What's the drawback to punching down? Well, maybe you're not able to actually get all of the loot then to take these pulls. Now, keep in mind, more directives will come. This is not a finite thing where you're never going to get more. And the big thing is the box. The box pays out significantly more than actually beating the formation, or the Krenom, in this case, Armada does. You're going to get a lot more from that loot, but you still might end up a little bit short depending on what you're able to punch up to. So you simply be saving it for the next go around. Keep in mind that this is based around an entire IMS event where this is the entire group, your whole group of players in your entire server are trying to work together. So that's the currency you're earning here with the IMS. And then also when you're earning your individual rewards for the Flashpoint exchange, you're going to have to save up those currencies and run them here. You see, I ended up 200 short of making a pull my Atlanta, but it's very similar, if not almost a direct copy of the Galactic Invasions mechanic with slightly different, if nothing more than updated rewards. And you can see all these different events here. See, currently actually ranked number 1 in my personal SLB, which, hey, I'm quite proud of, even though I lost. And you'll see the others here with the IMS. Again, this is what your entire alliance is working towards. And if you can complete it as an alliance, you get access to more rewards and fancy cool stuff. And it operates in stages. You'll notice in my stage, I am in stage 2 of my personal SMS. Remember, SMS means solo milestone. IMS is instance milestone. You have 4 days to complete it, and you say I've almost worked through stage 2. It's a lot of grinding if you want to participate. It's all earning this Flashpoint Event Store currency reward, which is a special tiny event store available to players. And we'll have a video about here of what we recommend going after. That's going to be, if you can tell, a future video, because today we're trying to focus on the Hurak hostiles themselves. But be warned, high piercing stats, lots of crazy info. Also, this is coming out at some point too, but you can see we need 450,000. So anyway, if you have questions about these, feel free to drop them down below. Again, taking on the hostiles, you're really going to want to focus on mitigation. Strange New World crews, in my opinion, are probably the best bet, even if it's something simple that everybody should have like this, but there are better versions, such as Strange New World Pike, Pelia, and Banga. You know, things like that to really up your mitigation, make sure you can handle it, and then smash below decks for things like ISO Cascade, Criticals, Hull Breach, etc. Stacking those below deck spots is what's allowing players to really hit the most, and if anything, punch up. And these really take a tick up. Really feels like at some of these levels, like level 60, they're just kind of pushing you, hey, you need to go to the next tier because they made them incredibly strong. And we've seen players who are in the mid 40s and mid 50s have a little bit better run compared to other levels. It's not very well balanced. At least that's what day 1 seems like, and we'll see what feedback produces from that. But in terms of crewing for the hostiles, remember, they are tough, but that doesn't mean they're unstoppable. They have similar abilities to the entities themselves, which they'll have Apex Barrier, and then you see the ISO damage boosting. But again, the biggest thing is the piercing stats. getting your mitigation high is critical. So things like Tom Paris, things like Wrath of Khan McCoy against the hostiles, using things like Pipe Row, Strange New Worlds, are going to really help you out. And hopefully this gives you the information you need to take on this new Flashpoint run. Live long and plunder. Stay safe with our Space Cowboys. Deuce, that's me. Shout out to Gherkin and Quasel, who both helped with going through a lot of this to prep and give you the crews we need. So shout out to them as always. Love you. Deuces. Catch you in the next one. We're out.
I would like to request to Scopely to add more Klingons to the game. That is what I was told to do, and so I am doing it. Which, you know, is not maybe the best thing as a leader to just do what you're told, but it seems like a good request to make to add more Klingons. Everything is better with Klingons, am I right? I am right, because I'm a Klingon. Klingon mach tach judge! We are Klingons, let it remain. All right, Rel's on a roll today. She's very excited.